Hey, JulesBlessedVegan, and as always, welcome to my channel. And for those of you who are new, I know you can benefit. So this is November. It started yesterday, but it's been kind of chaotic for me for a number of reasons. But I have my footing. I'm on my plan. My little sister watched a video and she's like, Jules, just get on with it. Get on your plan. And I was like, oh, I know my process is different than yours, but trust me, I'm on my plan. Oh my gosh, she loves me. I love her. And she calls me out on my stuff. And I told you she's in the health industry, so I trust her. But I'm on my plan, people. I am. And I'm really grateful. I'm grateful for those 10 days of looking at why I was feeling so fear-based. I'm grateful for getting back to my OA and all my 12-step meetings that I'm back at, which always promotes an attitude of gratitude, right? And ensures that in time, whatever the struggle was, that got us to wherever we are. Again, it might be money, it might be sex, it might be, God, so many things that people struggle with, that in time we'll recognize that that was just a stepping stone to the grace that we're living in this moment. And I am open to that. So my good friend Tanny Raw, I love saying that, but a social media phenom for health, she always talks about a couple of things, and I've never not recognized the parallels of what Tanny recommends and the 12-step program. And so one of the things is she always talks about knowing your why. You've got to have a really strong why to carry you through the difficult times. You have to have a plan, and you have to work a plan. And certainly in Overeaters Anonymous, really all the 12-step programs, but OA in particular, where it says it works if you work it, and it won't if you don't. That is so true. It's something I wish I didn't have to challenge, but I challenged it hard, and I was terrifically reminded that if you don't do all the things don't happen. All right. Okay, so this is November. I know it's pretty typical to talk about gratefulness and thankfulness and everything. I wanted to do a 30-day challenge. My friend Annie Beard, who's 101 Annie on Instagram, had said, hey, do you want to do a challenge? She stepped up and made one for herself. But I was thinking, yeah, in addition to just my accountability, which I'm doing, I thought I'd like to do 30 days of what we're thankful for. I know this is day 2, but I'll back up one day. I usually don't back up. You're welcome to back up with me or just move forward. So day 1 was, what unexpected blessing are you thankful for? What unexpected blessing are you thankful for? I would probably have to say getting back into my 12-step programs and actually incorporating meetings into my day and incorporating the tools of the program, So it's an unexpected blessing because it was available to me the whole time, but I stopped using it. And the minute I did tap into it, it just felt like home. Everybody wants to feel like they're at home, right? I really just felt like I was at home. So that was a great unexpected blessing. So we are on day 2, November 2nd. What friends are you grateful for? Wow. I'm a person who's really blessed in the sense that I have a lot of different groups of friends, and even my siblings I call friend. My mother I call friend. That was not always true. I have a lot of different walks of life, and so I'm really grateful for those friends, my JBV community, the people I met in the Tanny Raw Reset. Again, a program I highly recommend, and you can look it up by just putting in Raw Reset in my search, and I'll tell you all about it. But many people who became alum because they were repeat attenders, not repeat offenders, repeat attenders, and we've become good friends over time. There's a lot of people that I've never met in person, but they are absolutely part of my heart. I'm grateful for my partner teacher, a little whippersnapper. She's only 25, but we are simpatico and we get the job done, and I love that. So yeah, there's just many, many people. Mostly I will just praise God for the gift of friendship and allowing me to have so many gracious people in all my walk. And sometimes it's hard because those people don't stay around forever, right? It's really a challenge for me to accept what the gift was in the moment and to not fret or try and go backwards or try and hold on to it or try and pull that person back in when it's so apparent that they've moved on. So sometimes the heart wants the familiar, and sometimes we're not ready to let go of a relationship when somebody else seemingly does. So that is very hard for me. I try really hard to give people space, but there's a longing in my heart for the familiar. And I just always pray for the grace to pray, literally, the grace to pray for that person and their happiness in spite of mine. Do not ask. I do not know what that sneezing comes from. I am not allergic to this topic. But yeah, it got me. But yeah, so I just so completely invest that it's very hard for me to let go, even if someone let go of me. So, yeah, God for friends, and thank you if you consider me a friend. I'm honored to be one. I can't stand it when I get affected by something this late at night. But okay, I'm blessed. I'm clean. I'm blessed. Okay, so in addition to the Thankfulness Challenge, I'm going to continue to share some of my OA literature and different things that have touched me as I am absolutely getting back and fully engaged in caring for myself physically and just into my program, because it's definitely a 4-part physical, mental, spiritual, emotional, in all things. It's so essential that we address all the components, because if we don't, much like a table that's leaning, because its leg is out of whack, something inevitably will be out of whack. So I do recognize the need to do that. Anyway, this one was actually the other day. It was on Halloween, and I was so happy that I was able to abstain, not just on Halloween, but post-Halloween and post-Halloween again. And may it be post-Halloween for the rest of my life, because that has been a challenge for me in the past, but no longer. All right, so this one was actually from the 31st. If you're with me, this again is for today. It's part of OA's Daily Thoughts, and it's a really good one, even if you're not in OA. So it says, nothing contributes so much to tranquilize the mind as a steady purpose. Nothing contributes so much to tranquilize, to calm, right, to sedate the mind as a steady purpose. And that's by Mary Wollstonecraft. And again, that's kind of why I referenced Tanny Robb, because it goes back to knowing your why. What is that steady purpose that's going to keep you well? Okay, so let's get into the body of this. It says, I came to OA, and again, that's Overeaters Anonymous if you're not familiar, because I wanted to get well more than I wanted to eat. Okay, so that's exactly why I found vegan and raw vegan and Tanny Raw and all the raw stuff. I was dying, literally, of so many ailments, and my kidneys in particular, that I was like, look, I just need wellness. I'm going to change everything. I had no understanding of vegan. I had no understanding of why animal products were a problem. I didn't know that SAD was standard American diet. All those things were so foreign to me. I just knew a few years back that something desperately needed to change. All right, so it says, that is the steady purpose that directs my life today. I love this next sentence. I place freedom from compulsive overeating before everything else because I do not want to return to the life I had without it. And I just got a sneak peek of that, friends. I just went through a very dark time. What I was remembering was when I was so desperate to get well, and God was so merciful and healed many, many ailments. And I have all of those in my search for healing, from everything from my thyroid, to my kidneys, to my acid reflux, to my familial tremor, to my migraines, on and on and on. But he's like, Jules, I did all that for you, but I'm not a sucker. If you're going to go back to your nonsense, I will happily give those back to you, and much faster and much worse. Much worse. Like, I could hardly believe how quickly I was going downhill. And what seemingly took a lifetime was going to happen in 2 months. Astounding. And I just thought, whew, God ain't playing. He ain't playing, okay? He'll give the gift, but that gift can readily be taken away, and the consequence, mighty, mighty. I had a very scary revelation of that, and I'm grateful. I've shared before that I'm one of those people who can get through any crisis, but when the crisis ends and I exhale, I often falter. And I've been through a lot of crises recently. None of it's my own. That's what's so crazy. And I know some people have the grace to not be affected by things around them. That was the word I was trying to think of, which was empath. And that seems to be like a really popular buzzword right now. And everyone's decided that they're an empath and da-da-da. And you can think me arrogant as well and think that I'm as cheesy as everybody else. But I do have a psychic third eye. And God has enlightened me and called me to be able to often know things before people know them. Recognize things before others, to be completely in tune. I'm just one of those people who, when I walk into a room, people are sure that I'm the person in charge. They're sure I must know where the item is on the shelf. They're sure that, like, it's hilarious. Guys, something's so getting me. And I'm like, no, but I can help you find out. Excuse me. So there's just kind of that thing where so many times people have said, how did you know that? Like, I just met you. You shouldn't know that. And luckily I can just say, you know what? Holy Spirit, don't panic. It's God. That was a God wink. Don't panic. I'm not reading your mind or anything. But anyway, so yeah, sometimes I do get overly involved in other people because I'm so enlightened and tuned with them. And I'm trying to get a little better about having a boundary on their behalf, for sure. And of course on mine. So that was kind of another revelation that came to me, that I just really have to step back. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that as well, because it's a really good topic. And I have some tools that help me recognize that I've accidentally overstepped my boundary. The people didn't have the ability to say, Jules, that was, unwarranted or unsolicited advice, I guess you would say. But I am recognizing it and will make amends in that way. So unfortunately, when you do have insight, again, by the grace of God, sometimes you reveal things, and by you I mean me, but I'll reveal things to people who aren't ready for it, who can't see it, and then I'm like, oops, sorry, Father, could you have put like a post-it on what day that was appropriate? And I would have told them on that day, because they were nowhere near ready. So what was that about? Anyway, just little things like that. So I love that this person says their plan no matter what. And again, that kind of goes back to Tanny Robb, because she's just like, your plan stays steady when you're shaky. And if you work your plan in all situations, you'll be good to go. But obviously, if you let that plan go, and you're going to be, again, back where you were, but maybe worse. And that was certainly my story. So this person's just like, look, I don't want to return to the life I had without it. I love that. Before OA, the only tranquility, again, peace and calm, I knew was to unrest myself with food all my life. And indulgence for which I paid dearly the rest of the time. Yeah, the aftermath, it's all the time. How are you going to feel after that meal? How are you going to feel after that first compulsive bite? I did a whole thing on not taking that first compulsive bite. I need to go back and watch that video myself, But yeah, because you'll pay dearly for it the rest of the time, whether it's the stomach ache, the headache, the inflammation, whatever it is, the aftermath of consuming toxic waste. And it may not be toxic waste. It may just be too much, and it may just not be on your plan, So it says, nothing can save me from the mental and emotional anguish, like anxiety, right? And confusion of being fat, feeling guilty, and hating myself for lack of control. Let me go back on that. So nothing could save me from the mental and emotional anguish and confusion of being fat, feeling guilty, and hating myself for lack of control. Now, I know, because I've been in the vegan community for a couple of years now, and certainly the raw vegan community, that a lot of people never had a weight issue. Like, they never were fat, but they had health issues. And again, another video I did on skinny fat. It's called Skinny Fat, where people, by all accounts, look thin and fine, but inside, if you did their blood draw, there's problems, right? There's problems going on. So other people, it's keeping the weight on, right? They get so busy, they get so stressed, they forget to eat. And in Overeaters Anonymous, it's the gamut. There's anorexics in there. There's binge addicts. There's bulimics. There's, what is that one for exercise? Bulimia, right? It runs the gamut because, again, the foundation is it's not about food. It's your response to food. So I totally get that. But yeah, that feeling of setting an expectation and failing myself again and again. Lack of control. But I'm informed now about the hyperchemicals in food, about the designer foods that are designed to make you overeat, overindulge, have too much, which is why it goes back to not even taking that first compulsive bite, right? And this person has it, as does Tanny Raw, who's been clean for like 20 years, seriously. So it says, today I am not confused about who I am and what I am doing. I'm a compulsive overeater, relieved by the grace of God from the obsession, and recovering in this place I call home. So it says, for today, staying aware of my purpose in living by the OA program is my true source of peace of mind. Therefore, if my number one priority and nothing, no food, no circumstances, no person, can tempt me to give it up. And that's where Tanny Raw always says, no food, no drink, nor toxic thought I can think will take me from my primary purpose, right? Which is just to stay well. Raw vegan in her situation, but whatever your plan is, because another Tanny Raw phrase, moment plus moment equals momentum, the good builds. And I had all of that. So it was a bunch of things, from my car accident to my nephew, being infected and having to go to the hospital a few times, to my husband, horrific hernia surgery going so wrong, and the insane amount of pain he's in, and me not able to comfort him, and yet still getting up so many times during the night and doing all the things I can to help him, to one of my horses getting injured. And I get it. Life is every day. But I let my guard down one of those times. And then what has been a lifetime of a baby blanket, by time 2, time 3, my guard was just down. And I found myself once again overusing food. So I'm grateful to be back into my tools and to making my best choice. And my Serenity Prayer, of course. People have a lot of hard time with that. God grant me the serenity to accept things that I cannot change. I can change anything. I just have to make my mind to do it. The freedom is knowing that I don't have to do that. By God's grace, I'll be able to do it. The courage to change the things I can. And that can be very courageous. It can be really scary to do the right thing. To step out, to reach out, to speak up, right? And the wisdom, greatest gift of all, the wisdom to know the difference. And in having a conscious contact with God as I understand God, He will often in that moment give me the reality check. I don't always have the ability to hold my tongue. I'm more one of those who has to go back and clean up the mess of the aftermath. But I'm open. I'm open to it. I believe in time. Okay, so let's get a clean copy. Nothing contributes so much to tranquilize the mind as a steady purpose. Mary Wollstonecraft. I came to OA because I wanted to get well more than I wanted to eat. That is the steady purpose that directs my life today. I place freedom from compulsive overeating before everything else because I do not want to return to the life I had without it. Before OA, the only tranquility I knew was to nest myself with food, an indulgence for which I paid dearly for the rest of the time. Nothing can save me from the mental and emotional anguish and confusion of being fat, feeling guilty, and hating myself for lack of control. Today, I'm not confused about who I am and what I'm doing. I am a compulsive overeater, relieved by the grace of God from the obsession, and recovering in this place I call home. And again, if you're not an overeater or anything else, I'm sure you have your own support group and you can transfer that. For today, staying aware of my purpose and living by the OA program is my true source of peace of mind. Therefore, it is my number one priority, and nothing, no food, no circumstance, no person can tempt me to give it up. And of course, that wasn't true because I gave it up. I was a steadfast OAer. Like, it was really working for me for so long. But that's another fault, is that I get comfortable, I feel like I'm safe, and I start to drop my tools. And this program has always been a gift for me, and I'm happy that I got those tools back. They were mine for the taking. All right, my friends, like if you like, join us if you haven't, subscribe. Let me know in the comments below how I may support you. Let me know, did you go with one? What unexpected blessing are you thankful for? Did you share about number 2? What friends are you grateful for? Please let me know in the comments below. And tomorrow will be day 3. I'll give you a heads up. What childhood lesson are you thankful for? That's fun. All right, until we talk again, best of all, know that I'm thankful for you and that you're blessed.